morning and welcome to our last session from the book, The 20-Minute Whistle, which is part of our Step Back in Time program series. This is a book that was written by George Beard Coffman, and I'm going to read an excerpt out of Chapter 6 for today's Step Back in Time. After Franklin Landis completed his trade at Mountjoy, he was employed as a toolmaker with the Norris Locomotive Works in Lancaster. After 2 years at Norris Locomotive, the plant closed in 1867. He was 22 years of age, and he seriously considered going west to seek whatever the country held for him, but his mother persuaded him to remain in Lancaster. He started a small shop building models as required at that time by the U.S. Patent Office from all persons seeking patents. The business proved profitable. In 1869, he expanded and took into partnership his brother Ezra. George Frick was a frequent visitor with the Landis families, and letters passed back and forth regularly. The Landises were Reformed Mennonites. They were friendly and steady workers and visited among friends in and around Waynesboro, riding the train as far as Greencastle, where they were met or hired a rig at the local livery stable. You could make the trip by stage, but never did 9 miles seem as great a distance as when crowded into the uncomfortable bus that was built to hold 5 persons besides the driver, and sometimes held twice that number. The stage left Greencastle for Waynesboro at 4:30 p.m. and returned next morning at 8 o'clock. The driver was also the mail carrier between the two towns, and the large mail bags were placed in front of the machine. Frequently, there was so little room that the mail passengers did not have a place for their feet and had to hang them out of the wagon. At nearly every fence corner, the driver was compelled to stop to throw off a paper, and passengers were awaiting the stage at almost every country lane. During the peach season, many crates of fruit were sent from Waynesboro to Greencastle, and frequently well-gowned ladies had to be jammed in between a dozen or more peach crates. The trip to Waynesboro cost 50 cents and was well worth the price for the time it required to reach your destination. As the residents of this section were not then acquainted with the trolley, this mode of travel was considered very desirable. When winter weather proved severe, passengers supplied themselves with a few hot bricks or sticks of wood that had been placed in the oven. A story is told of a young woman who was making a trip to Waynesboro to attend a party. This function was to take place in the evening, so the young lady had arrayed herself for the occasion. But alas for human pride. When the lady was halfway between Greencastle and Waynesboro, she knocked over a bucket of molasses that had been placed in the bottom of the stage, and the molasses clung to her silken gown. Many years ago, the stage was driven by the late Archie Logue. It was then painted a gorgeous yellow, and passengers sat along the side. But this form of travel frequently caused seasickness, and the next stage driver had a large 3-seated wagon resembling a Dayton wagon. A.T. Gordon and Bryce Fisher were 2 of the later drivers, and both can tell many amusing incidents of their trips. And that is our story for today. As I said before, if you want to find more out about the manufacturers and those that started the big businesses and the industries here in Waynesboro, come into the library and check out our book, The 20-Minute Whistle. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Until we meet again, keep studying your ancestry and the history of Waynesboro. Have a wonderful week.